Listen to me. Your titles count for nothing. And don't give yourself a title that God didn't give to you. There were very few men in the Bible who referred to themselves as a prophet or apostle. Very, very few. And these were men we know of a certain fact that they were. I don't carry about myself with any title. The kids in school, they call me sir. So one day, I go to school wearing something nice, and they came. So one of the guys said, wow, Amazad Mohammed. So I tell him, listen, sir will do just fine. Okay? That's the wet man right there. Oh, Jesus. Okay, so your titles count for nothing. Whatever people give titles, and they might feel good, but that's not who you are. That's not who you are. And we live out of what's inside of us. You know, if you brand yourself a title, then you have a problem. Here's what's the problem. The problem is now you have to live every day, live up to that. And the day you don't, they'll label you as a false. You say you asked for that. You asked for that. I don't give myself a title. You know, in school the kids call me sir, whatever. Here I'm just son. At home, I'm a brother, I'm a son, I'm a dad, whatever. You know, I don't give myself a title. I just do what God has called me to do. Be simple and be normal about it, yeah? Okay, great. So the swaddling helps to keep the bones straight, but it helps to bring alignment. It helps to keep your mind on the right track so that you are not sidetracked by whatever error is out there. Okay, we don't want to go in a particular direction and get caught up in some of these things. A lot of churches are big on preaching on deliverance, big on preaching on prosperity, on healing and all. And while all of these things are good, it's kind of lopsided, don't you think? It's kind of one-sided, don't you think? So if every time you're hearing that same type of message, you're not becoming a complete person. See? So we must get back to the straight and narrow, fix the things that are out of order, and bring everybody back into alignment. How's that? That's good word? Okay, so John came to correct some of these issues concerning the priesthood. They had corrupted the laws, they had made them crooked. John left the established order of the day, dressed in camel's hair instead of the priestly garments, ate locusts and wild honey instead of the meat and drink of the priest. John was considered the last of the Old Testament prophets because he came in the typo, right? He had a semblance to Elijah. The clothes he wore and how he lived out in the wilderness. You see, this is a very big deal. And I'll tell you why it's such a big deal. Because this man was born to a priest. And as such, he was next in line to carry on the priesthood. And being a priest in those days was a very, let's say, desirable thing to do. You were the it of it. You were the wet man of the day. Sorry, bad joke. Anyways, but they wore very beautiful embroidered garments. And they ate the best of the meat. Unfortunately, they became greedy and selfish and started to extract more than their share. And that taxation on the people came upon them. So of course, God is wanting to change these things. So John leaves. That's a hard thing to do. That's a very hard thing to do. I mean, it had to be a work of God to leave the established order of the day and all that goes with it. Leave that and walk out in an emptiness, having nothing but the word of the Lord with you. Prepare the way of the Lord. Make his path straight. You step out into something and you don't know what it is, but you know you have the word of the Lord. And then the people come. And that's a strange thing. The people come to him out there in an empty place. They find him because people want the truth. They want the reality of who God is. And we must present him that way. The reality of who God is, not a part of him, just a small understanding of what we have. Jeremiah 31:31. So we come back again to issues of old and new. And these will always be issues until we iron them out. Ironing out issues of old and new. What's old? What's new? Behold, the days come, said the Lord, and I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was an husband unto them, saith the Lord. And right there, God is alluding to the fact that the covenant is like a marriage relationship. One person breaks it. But God is saying here, he kept up his part of the bargain. He kept up his end of the covenant. But the people went their own way. Covenant is becoming ever more important in our lives today. And we must honor covenant. Marriage is a covenant. And we must honor it. We must honor it. If we are to teach our children the value of the power of the covenant of marriage, they must see it in us. That's why we have a lot of the nonsense happening in the world today, in our country today. Because we have done away with things like covenant. And those came from right in here. We started to live by just what we want to do, our selfish gain. It's all about what I want, not about the covenant and honoring the covenant. You see, if we come back to a place of covenant, a lot of things that are going crazy out there will begin to straighten out. A lot of things are fixed right there if mom and dad are in their place in the home. A lot of things can be fixed right there. I'm not talking about church. I'm not talking about kingdom. I'm just talking about covenant. Just a mom and dad right there in the marriage, in the home, and the kids know. Because they always tell us you can't teach kids values. They learn it just by looking, just by observing, just by seeing how you do things. They absorb these things just like if it's in the air. So what we try to do at home, we try to cultivate that kind of atmosphere. Because we have a very young, impressionable, and very bright child. And she's learning ferociously fast. It's frightening. I have to be on my P's and Q's and everything else. But a lot of things can be fixed when parents are in the right place in the home. The kids know rank and file. They know who's in charge. They know order. They know it. They know it. We have a lot of indiscipline in schools. And we like to talk about what the kids do or these teenagers, what will they do next. But no one has talked about the parents and why they are the way they are. Because if the parents are indisciplined, you expect those kids to grow up right. Who's going to be there to make sure they grow up right? Somebody posted something on my Facebook. true, what you call it, support, you know, when the father has to pay child support. True child support. It's a picture of the dad lying on his back with the baby on top of him. That's true support, ain't it? It's not dad somewhere miles away sending money if he could. True child support is a dad being there, supporting the child. Yeah? Yeah, we gotta come away from that. We gotta fix some of these crooked things in our lives, in our homes, in our nation. It makes no sense to throw our hands up in the air and say, well, this country is just gone to the dogs. The change must start somewhere. It must start with someone. So why not you? Why not me? Yes? John was willing to be the voice of change. John was willing to give up everything to be the voice of change. You know, can we do that? Can we give up the established order of the day to be the voice of change? To fix some of these things that are seemingly wrong? Can we allow God to come in and cause things to line up the way they ought to? But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, said the Lord. I will put my law in their inward parts and write them in their hearts, and will be their God, and they shall be my people. You see, it makes no sense trying to live by a set of laws outside of you. If the laws are outside of me, what happens? I can do this. Well, I can do number 1. I'm not so sure about number 4. So it's like a menu. I pick what I want, what I can do. So I pick 1, 3, close my eyes, 7, and I'll try to keep those. I can do those. And if I don't feel like it, I don't have to. You know why? Because it's written outside. And if it's outside, I don't have to live by it. I don't have to obey it. I can ignore it when I want. So this is exactly what was happening in Israel. The laws were outside of them. They didn't have to live by them. So they chose what they wanted. They changed what they could, tweaked it a little bit, say tweak it. Not twerking it, tweak it. So we changed it a little bit. We changed it to suit our own needs, our own selfish gain, see? We change, it's like a menu. We select what we want, leave what we don't, eat what we want. But the scripture says, eat the whole lamb. Doesn't it? We must eat the whole thing, including the inward parts, which is how it's symbolic of getting a law on the inside. But if it's on the inside, Glenda, it's not that easy to twinkle with it. It's not that easy to say, well, I can't do this now, or I choose this one today, but tomorrow I don't think I will. Once it's on the inside, Billy, once it's on the inside, it's like a fire in your bones. Once it's on the inside, it's conditioning you to live by it. Even in the times that you feel you don't want to, even in the times you feel your flesh is frailing or failing, and you know, there's this thing on the inside of you and you can't get it out because it's already written on the inside. And it's not that hard to erase. You can't break these laws. They're on the inside. So we find ourselves living by a new set of laws, a new covenant. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know the Lord, for they shall all know me. Can we get to that place where we all know Him in the same way? So that you don't know Him as God, the God of prosperity, and I don't know Him as God, the God of healing. Someone else knows Him as God, the God of, whatever. Can we all know Him the same way? In His entirety. For all shall know me, from the least least of them unto the greatest of them, said the Lord, for I will forgive their iniquity and I will remember their sin no more. So, some little comparisons I brought up between the Old Covenant and New Covenant. The Old Covenant is based entirely on what you did. Now, the New Covenant is based entirely on what He did. So, how the Old Covenant works is, if you do these things, you shall receive these rewards. How the New Covenant works is, Christ on the cross has paid the price for all of this. So if you believe Him in His entirety and what He's done, you have available to you everything that He has made available to you. So it's based on what He did. His obedience, not yours. Because His obedience was complete. Ours was incomplete, as we see. Right? We could not live up to our end. Okay, the Old Covenant believed that God was angry, that He was vengeful, that He would kill and destroy. That's what, so right away you know that people are talking that kind of talk and preaching that kind of thing, or even prophesying that, you know where that comes from. The New Covenant understanding is that God is no longer angry. Now take some time and let that sink in. I want you to go home and tell yourself, God is not angry with me. And you say that, God is not angry with. So if something not too nice has happened, it's not because God was angry. Because He's not. He's not. God is no longer angry. And if we are still teaching this, it's perhaps a lot of the reason why we have angry people out there. If we teach people that God is angry, they will be angry. They'll be angry at everything. They'll be angry at the kids. They'll be angry at the dog. They'll be angry for everything. They'll be angry at the boss. Although the boss might give you reason to be. Nonetheless, thank God for your boss, right? But, under the New Covenant understanding, judgment was poured out on Christ. God is no longer angry. Okay? So let's fix that. Let's make that crooked path straight. Okay, the Old Covenant was based on work, the New Covenant is based on relationship, so we live out of our relationship with Christ. We don't live out of a set of laws written in stone, where we can choose what we want. Under the Old Covenant, sin was dealt with, but not the nature of the sinner. That's big. Under the Old Covenant, every time someone trespassed, which would have been often, they would have to bring a sacrifice. While the sacrifice took care of the sin, it did not change the nature of the person, which meant that he could go out and sin again, which meant that he had to bring back the sacrifice again. Under the New Covenant, the nature of the sinner was changed. So it's kind of reversed now. The Old Covenant dealt with the sin. The New Covenant dealt with the sinner. So once the sin has been dealt with, where's the sin? If there are preachers still preaching about sin in church, that's Old Covenant. Because under the New Covenant, if we start teaching people the right thing, that your nature has been changed, sir, so what you're doing is not who you really are. Stop doing it. And once you come into an understanding, you begin to listen to me. I don't have to do this. Listen. And a lot of these things you're just going to stop doing because, listen, you come into a New Covenant understanding that this is not who I am. My nature is different. I live out of what's inside of me, the nature that's on the inside of me. And I am not a sinner, so I don't. The nature of the sinner is to sin. And if we have crucified the sinner, then he does not exist anymore. Is that okay, sir? Is that okay? How much more shall the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without spot to God, purge your conscience from dead works? Listen to me. This is telling us that, listen, right here, right now, even the consciousness of sin, even how you think and see yourself. And see, this is where true change comes. This is where true repentance is, right here. This is where we can begin to straighten things out, right here. Right there, you'll see, listen. You purge your conscience from dead works to serve the living God. We should not be talking about sin in church. We should not have a sin problem in the church. Some things people just do out of their hearts, act out irrationally, just allow the flesh to control them in an instant. Of course, there are consequences. Of course. Of course. Of course, there are consequences. But God is not angry. So we have people today trying to live under the old covenant when God has already instituted a new one. So you're outdated. You can't fit in. You're archaic. You're like a dinosaur walking the earth. You're a freak of nature. Stop it. You don't fit in. No wonder no one wants to come to your church. God is straightening out the issues of mixture in the church. And see, this is a big thing. A lot of people are still deciding, do we have the Sabbath? Do we celebrate the Sabbath? Shit. Listen, a lot of these things were not for us. A lot of the things were written specifically to the nation of Israel. Okay? We've got to straighten out, once we got straightened our minds, these issues of mixture, understand what true covenant is, the new covenant. Yes? Most of what we believe in church is just handed down stuff. Now we have prophets today operating out of the old covenant. You know, we have people today that say, if you leave my church, your ministry will never prosper. My goodness. Met some folk and they went to a particular type of church. And so a lot of things have been happening with the family members, and so the person, whoever's in charge of the church, told them that if they leave, they will have to come back. They will have to come back. You know, this kind of stuff, this is ridiculous stuff. You're operating out of an old paradigm. You're bringing people under bondage. And this is what the old priesthood did in the old day, okay? So, you know, we have people that preach out of Deuteronomy 28, those blessings and curses. Listen to me. That was given specifically to the Jewish nation. Some things are relevant for us, some things are not relevant at all. Can you go on? Okay, this is just an example here again. Remember this story with